Hey, welcome back here to Glenville State College in the athletic department and another segment of our coaches show. And our guest today is head boxing coach Duane Chapman, who's also a faculty member here, has a long storied career, worn many hats here in Pioneer Land through the years. Thanks for being with us today, Coach.
Thanks, sir. Glad to be here.
Well, I'll tell you what, we just had the event here, a little over a week ago, another boxing event, the Warden WACO 6. Just some takeaways from the night, and it was a great event for the community.
Best matchmaking I've ever done, I think. I can think of one other time that was really good matches, but I think the atmosphere, the boxers came. We had them out of Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky. They were impressed with the venue. They were impressed with the way they got chauffeured in the door, taken care of, getting weigh-ins, seeing the doctor, the way we ran the bouts. Things were matched up really close. I mean, there were really good matches. The crowd loved it. The tables were full. I mean, what more could you want in a boxing event?
Great, entertaining night across the board. But you alluded to the matchups and all you went into matching things up. And I think fans come in and they see the product and they see the fights, and we have the good fights, but they don't see what goes on behind the scenes, all the mixing and matching, and to get to that bout list that night. Can you give us a little bit of background on getting from point A to point B with that?
I started pre-matching 3 weeks before the event, and you were well aware on the day of the event, I had to rematch bouts with an hour to 2 hours before the event due to COVID, injuries. All these things happen with boxers, so it's you're always chasing. Coach, are you good? You still good to go? Hey man, we're not going to make it. So and so injured their hand. We're not going to be able to fight tonight. And you can get that at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
On the day of the event. So you've got to reshuffle. You contact coaches that are already coming to see if they have anybody available. I mean, if you remember right, we had 25 bouts, which is too many, but you match all these bouts, and then they start melting down, and then they go back up, and you always hope. My magic number is 16. I think anywhere from 12 to 16 bouts make a nice evening that's got a good beginning, a good end, and you have some fights in the middle, and it's a good evening. But yeah, then you get sponsors to be able to pay for the doctors, the ring. You're getting uniforms for your own squad. You're making sure you're still trying to train them, and you're still, once again, communicating with other coaches. And then we have people from Ohio that never been here, and Pennsylvania never been here. So you've got to make sure they know how to get through to Glenville and the Waco Center. So it's a lot going on, but stressful but enjoyable when you see when the last bell goes off and the night's done, you see what you've done and what's come off. So it's worth it.
Well, the fights on that night was we had 3 from the Glenville boxing team that participated that night. Some very good fights. They were all very, very well contested, and but between Alex Pondexter, Nick Earlywine, and Aaron O'Connor. You talk about their performances and the fights that night.
That's the best performance Alex has ever had. He led off the Pioneer squad. Absolutely phenomenal for him. He had lost his first fight. This was his redemption fight, as he called it. He was focused. He put in the sparring and the time, 5 to 6 days a week. He did phenomenal. He listened to me in the corner. He adjusted, and he dominated all the rounds. Nick started boxing in the summer. And as a quick study, a coachable young man, a smart young man, he brought it together. I think it was the most contested bout of the evening. He lost by a split decision. I was happy with his performance. He fought a guy that had fought 3 times before out of Pittsburgh, who had been staying active for his first fight. Couldn't be more proud of him. I thought he did really well. O'Connor, he won. There's more to be seen about him. Him and I have spoke. It was kind of an off night for him. I think you'll see a better performance out of him in the future. He's been sparring some pros around the area in West Virginia and Pennsylvania. Even after the Warden WACO, we immediately hit the road and getting some sparring. He's matched in Youngstown for October the 30th, and hopefully in Cleveland, November the 13th. So we're going to keep him busy. We're talking about looking at the Nationals in December 3rd if we can pull it off. It's kind of bad timing because of finals, and you know me, education's first. Boxing second. The college degree gets them ready for the future. So But yeah, I'm really happy with the performance. They did well. They had some good opponents. Like I said, all the matches were good. Everybody that showed up was in tip-top shape and ready to fight.
I'm going to ask you a couple of technical questions here. And again, this is, from chatter in the arena that night and hearing from boxing people, inside and outside your program from the other clubs. And the first thing I'm going to, well, two-part question. One was Pondexter, how you've coached him and how he scores at a high volume with those jabs now.
Yeah.
And then the second part I want you to address is O'Connor, because everybody kept talking about the European style, that Americans want to bob and weave and that straight up and keep coming at you, how that always is problematic for American fighters. So if you could address those two technical questions.
I think with Alex he has a good jab in sparring. When he goes to his first fight, and we've traveled and sparred a little bit, I think it's the oddity of being in a new area, a new opponent, and all this. He kind of loses his jab. If he does, he drops it.
Yeah.
Today or on that night, he didn't. He was sharp. He's a southpaw. I have a lot of southpaws.
Yeah.
He was sharp, and he knew to follow with the two. So he knew to use the jab to set up, to throw this two straight down the pike and then kill the body.
Yeah.
And he consistently kept doing that. Where before, we seen his jab was, I call it paddling the boat.
Yeah.
It was down. It wasn't straight out and snappy. And he did fantastic that night. I've trained him from when he's got here. We're getting ready to lose. We're getting ready to graduate in December, which is a sad note. But you get to the pinnacle where all this falls in place, and now he's leaving me. But O'Connor, on the other hand, he looks up to Andy Lee, an Irish boxer who was over here and trained with Emmanuel Stewart. Andy Lee wrote a book about boxing and talked about his career. And he says that the best boxers are those who are European born and trained and then come to America and get that American style, or vice versa. You're born in America and you get the American style, then you go to Europe and you find, and you combine those styles. And we've seen a lot of this, like in Oscar De La Hoya, that had both the Mexican style and American style of boxing. It makes him more versatile. It makes him awkward to come at. We've been working on staying in the pocket more because he's a pure boxer. He wants to stay on the outside. I want to see him fight in the pocket and then back out and control the bout better and circle left to right on his pivot foot and really control his opponent. Yeah. We've seen a little bit of that, but I think you got to give it to Aaron O'Connor. From Ireland, come to the United States of America, and in less than 3 months, he's had a bout in USA boxing at Glenville State College, where the students come to see him. He was hyped up, and I think now that he's got this one out of the way, you're going to see a better style of him mixing both the European. The European's odd for American fighters. We've seen Klitschko do it and rule the heavyweight championship for years. No American fighter could do it. We just watched Fury get beat, or Fury win and beat Wilder for the heavyweight championship, European versus American. So there's something to be said about that. We want to tune up and get closer to having some of that American fighting style, but still stand up and still box and still keep him on the outside, but be more comfortable in the pocket to throw punches and then move out.
Yeah.
And make him a total fighter.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, and I thought, there was a big response, from Dr. Bone and the drum line with all of them.
Oh, it's great. Wait at the drum line.
Oh, it's great.
I don't know if I want to do that again. It psyched my boxers out too much. They said as soon as the drum line started, they just went through, their adrenaline went through the roof, and I was like, okay, maybe I don't want to do that next time.
I know the crowd loved it.
I know, it's great.
It was a great atmosphere. It really was.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about, because a couple years ago you had, two female fighters that fought, 19, and you have two that are training now. Now you're looking to find the proper matchup. As far as the future, being able to, bring a few more female fighters, into the program, and I know it's a big ask, because it's the training is not easy, but about being able to maybe potentially someday getting one or two more female fighters in here.
I want a lot more. I mean, Carissa Shields, look at her, 3-time gold medalist. I mean, she's dominating the pros. I love female boxing. I've got two. They actually have recently started sparring now, so we're moving those two young ladies. I would love to get more. I've talked to a few. We've had them on campus. They visited. I just can't get them to buy in to boxing as a collegiate sport and being a part of this squad. I'm hoping that'll change. COVID, as it hurt everything, hurt my program, and we're basically rebuilding the program back up with boxing not taking place for a while. Yeah. I'm hoping to get more females. I tell people, I think they coach well. They're almost more coachable because they don't have some kind of mystique about being the champion of the world. They want to learn, and they really want to fight, and they want to participate. So in a lot of senses, they're easier for me to coach. They don't come from all this Rocky Marciano and Floyd Mayweather and all this other stuff behind them. I would love to have more. It's just it's a tough sell right now, and hopefully we'll get better. We've had them fight before. They've won. I mean, Banks with the FBI now won her match out here. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So Sydney was here, had 5 or 6 fights. So we want to get them back. I mean, I know that the guys in Cleveland want me because I used to be the only one to have female boxers. So I know they want us back to that program, and hopefully we'll get there.
Well, what we'll close with, upcoming events, where are you wanting to get some of the fighters matched up for the rest of this semester?
Well, injuries have hurt me. I mean, Jason Bragg didn't get a fight on this. He's got a hand. He's doing therapy. I call this his therapy. He's got a knuckle. Hopefully he gets healthy. Won't be able to fight him till spring. Nick's been fighting a bad shoulder, so he's kind of out. He's been getting therapy on it. Right now, it's me and Aaron O'Connor. We're going to travel.
Yep.
Once again, we're going to hit Youngstown on the 30th of this month. We're going to hit November, and we're looking at the Nationals. We raise money. We find some sponsors. We get plane tickets, and we fly. It's going to be in Shreveport, Louisiana. But I'm waiting to see if there's going to be one when we get back in the spring that we can hit. We have Golden Gloves has now moved to the summer. We're not here in the summer, so that's hurting us. I'd like to see Golden Gloves, the Tri-State Golden Gloves and Nationals come back into the spring and May dates. It'd be helpful for our program. But so if we can't do Golden Gloves, we're going to start focusing on Nationals a lot more. USA Boxing Olympic qualifiers, go get that work. You want to be the best, you have to fight the best. You can't duck. You can ask any of my boxers, I don't care who we're boxing. I don't care about the record. I don't care who they beat. A boxer will learn more in the loss than they will in the win sometimes. And you can't set and protect a boxer from fighting the best.
Yeah.
If they want to be the best, they have to fight the best. That's why we've been traveling and sparring. So I'd like to have another event in the spring if we can find that date, that magic date, and drop it in. It would be great. I'd love to have the Junior Olympics or the Silver Gloves here. That would be a big thing for us.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think you and what you're doing with that program, and I was with Aaron.
Yeah.
I remember how it was with Frank and, his fights, throughout the country. Great ambassadors for the college.
Yes, they are.
Absolutely. So really proud. And for you folks that haven't been in one of those events or seen one of their training sessions back here, it's a great culture within that program, and, we're really proud to have you all here.
Good deal. Thanks, sir.
No problem. Thank you.